Hey, I'm Laura. Just quickly, we here at GRITtv are proud to bring you independently produced content every day. Now it's your chance to help us. GRITtv has been offered a $100,000 challenge grant. Every dollar you give right now between now and June 30th is worth $3 to us. We've only got a few more weeks to meet the match. Will you help? You can donate at our website, GRITtv.org. Meanwhile, enjoy this clip. We go now to Richard Falk. He is the UN Special Rapporteur on the Occupied Palestinian Territories. Richard, welcome to GRITtv.
Glad to be with you, Laura.
You issued a very strong statement immediately following the Israeli commando raid on the Freedom Flotilla. Give us the high points or the key points of that statement, and then I'd love your take on how the debate is playing out in the United States so far.
My statement probably wasn't strong enough, in my view. This was an unprovoked act of aggression by Israel on the high seas, outside any kind of sovereign area that Israel had any right to use its military force. It used violence in a situation where it could have achieved the same results by escorting the ships to its ports. These were unarmed individuals on this peace convoy heading for Gaza to provide needed humanitarian assistance in a setting where the people of Gaza had been subject to an unlawful blockade that had gone on for almost 3 years and violated Article 33 of the Fourth Geneva Convention, which unconditionally prohibits collective punishment. So this was a clear instance of an unlawful act that had no practical justification and involved alienating not only world public opinion and the UN, but also Israel's closest ally in the region, Turkey.
You saw at the United Nations a parade as soon as Monday's Security Council session of world leaders calling at this moment not only for an investigation into what happened, but for an end to the blockade. The U.S. demurred from that, did not participate in that call for the end to the blockade. Their argument is humanitarian aid can get through. In your role as UN Special Rapporteur to the Occupied Palestinian Territories, what do you know of the ability of Gazans right now to get the food and water and building supplies and medical aid that they need?
It is a shameful distortion of the reality to contend that Gazans are able to get the assistance that they need. The UN has confirmed just days ago that the situation that has always been extremely serious and critical has now deteriorated further, and the head of UN relief operations in Gaza, John Ging, called upon the UN itself to begin defying the blockade and delivering humanitarian assistance. So it is a shameful thing that the U.S. government should contribute to this misinformation about the nature of suffering that has been imposed on the people of Gaza and the responsibility of Israel and those that support Israel for continuing this set of conditions despite their unlawful and criminal character.
Some people say, why did the flotilla, the Freedom Flotilla members go to these lengths, go to these extremes? Are they provoking an action like this against them? They answer, many of them, every other avenue has been tried. You have tried to get information, clear information, in your capacity when you as Special Rapporteur. What was your experience of dealing with the Israeli authorities and the Americans on these issues?
Well, it was consistent with what the peace convoy people have been saying, namely that Israel has no respect for its obligations as member of the UN. It's supposed to cooperate with me as the Special Rapporteur. Instead, they detained me in a prison and then expelled me and haven't allowed me to enter, which is in violation of their obligations to cooperate with the UN in their discharge of official functions. Much more seriously, they haven't upheld their Geneva Convention obligations as the occupying power in relation to especially Gaza, but also the West Bank and East Jerusalem. So it's a very consistent pattern, and one that our government has unfortunately reinforced politically, economically, and psychologically in a way that is increasingly isolating the U.S. in world public opinion.
Richard Falk, the rest of the world uses with some regularity the term collective punishment to describe what's happened to the people of Gaza and the occupied territories. With respect to international law, of which that is a kind of violation, what body in the world has any ability to take action against Israel, against the United States? Who can actually enforce any of these laws? You, with your experience at the United Nations, you have hopes there?
Well, the UN is no better or worse than the political will of its dominant members. And this means that the US has been able to use its geopolitical muscle to protect Israel and its leadership from accountability under international law. It's an unfortunate aspect of the way in which the world is organized.
You think anything is changing?
I think it's changing in civil society, including even here in the United States. I think there is a increasing appreciation of the Palestinian suffering and of the degree to which Israel has acted as an agent of criminal policies with respect to the Palestinians. I think that is changing, and it's leading to this expanding boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement that is beginning to resemble the anti-apartheid campaign that was so effective against South Africa in the late 1980s.
So this could turn one more part of that tide. Richard Falk, thank you so much for joining us. We'll stay in touch with you.
Great. Good talking.
There's more information and links to Richard Falk's articles and statements on these subjects at our website, GRITtv.org.